Hello, fellow drinkers at the Jolly Heretic, resident poet here, and a hello again to people who may have joined via Simon Webb's History Debunked channel. The problem is, whenever I try to impersonate Simon, it does sometimes come out sounding a bit like the late Bruce Forsyth, which isn't really any surprise, as I believe they came from a very similar part of London. Bruce Forsyth, unfortunately, no longer with us, passed away. Yes, he succumbed to a nasty seizure. Nasty seizure to seizure, nasty. So that was a proper Bruce Forsyth impersonation there. So as I said, that's that introduction out of the way. And first of all, I'd just like to do a bit of a roundup of Ed's rather brilliant Quick Pint series this week. Now, first of all, he did a quick pint on the subject of cognitive dissonance, which a lot of leftists and wokists do seem to suffer from, particularly when the subject of intelligence is raised. So here's a little poem on that. The issue with some folks' worldview can be that it's based on taboo. The search for the truth is basic, forsooth, and really is long overdue. And then the next quick point that came up this week was a little clip on the Blue-Haired Brigade, i.e. Spiteful mutants, and Ed was at pains to stress that these people are not woke and they're not trendy. Foremost, primarily, they are basically spiteful mutants. So a little rhyme here for that. This video is very insightful. Those mutants are ever so spiteful. It's a treat every week to hear Dutton speak. In short, absolutely delightful. So that was a little poem on that little quick pint there. And I hope all of you managed to tune in to the stream last night, where Ed had a very venerable guest by the name of Helmuth Nyborg. And I hope I've pronounced that correctly. A chap from Denmark who courted controversy a few years ago with some research papers. But no, he's lived a very full and long life. I think he was in the Danish Navy. He must be about 86 or 87 now. Sharp as a tack, got all of his marbles. And it was a great little stream, very informative and entertaining. Our guest here tonight is a Dane. A paper he wrote did contain controversial opinions that riled lefty minions. Let's hope that he does it again. I'm sure he will. I'm sure he's got years in him yet. Speaking of octogenarians, it did remind me of a funny little story, which hopefully you will indulge me in telling. So anyway, one day, an old chap, he gets up and he goes to his local doctors, and he's must be in his 80s, very old guy. And he says to his doctor, "Doctor, I've got rather an embarrassing problem." And the doctor says, "Okay, sir, don't worry, relax, out with it. You know, there's nothing to be embarrassed about." So the old guy says, "Well, it's just that my wife and I, we don't seem to be getting as much pleasure from sex anymore these days." And the doctor says, "Okay, now, how old are you, if you don't mind me asking?" And the old man says, "Me, I'm 85. And the doctor says, "Okay, and how old's your wife?" And the old man says, "My wife's 84. So the doctor stands back in amazement slightly and says, "Well, would you mind me asking how long ago this problem started?" And the old guy says, "Twice last night and first thing again this morning." So hopefully you enjoyed that rather old little story there, which proves that there's life for all of us as we head into our sunset years. Now, some little rhymes here for the debunked devotees, i.e. Simon Webb's clan, if you like. One of the videos that Simon came out with earlier this week was on the changing complexion, shall we say, of our neighbourhoods. And that prompted me to write this little rhyme here. We wish our locales could be good, that's to say, our own neighbourhood. But with high immigration across the whole nation, it's a sham, that's now understood. And then later on in the week, Simon held forth on the subject of brain function and its differing capacity across the races. The subject of racial IQ can cause, shall we say, a to-do. The culture of silence may lead some to violence. Mine's only 102. That's not actually true there. It's a little bit higher than that. And then later on, Simon gave us some information on children's rights re their sex and how apparently parents were not able to override this. We hear of the subject of gender. It seems to be on the agenda. We see once again that the woke are insane. On this we must never surrender. So, yeah, very important subject there, close to a lot of people's hearts. Here's some terrible stories. And then immediately after that, Simon gave us a quick clip on some recent figures published by the UK ONS, well, that is the Office for National Statistics, where they've shown that there's been a big jump in the number of deaths recently compared to similar periods in years gone by. And my rhyme goes as follows. There's been an increase in mortality. That is the actual reality. The constant insistence to socially distance is shown to have been a banality. And then hard on the heels of that, Simon gave us a video on the perennial little subjects every time there's the Black History Month that comes round, on how that in the Roman era in Britain, apparently there were very, very many African people. So that is a subject, as I say, that comes up with shocking frequency and regularity. In Britain, millennia ago, some leftists take great pains to show that we were diverse. It is the reverse, as even a moron would know. So that's the roundup for the poems this week. Hope you all enjoyed that. And Jolly Heretic folk, you will probably know that very, very sadly last week, the pub cat, Margaret, sadly passed away. She was anemic and had reached the 15-year milestone, but very, very, very sad nonetheless. And one might almost say that Ed has lost that loving feline. So that was rather a bad pun there. However, I'm sure you'll excuse that. And on Monday's stream, which is dedicated to Margaret this coming Monday, I hope to appear and express my condolences in a rather more sober way via the medium of rhyme. So hopefully I'll see you all there. So it just remains for me to say thank you all very much for watching. If you like this, please do like and or subscribe using the buttons below. And hope you all have a wonderful weekend. And as I say, I'll hopefully see you on Monday. Thanks. Goodbye.